There's an echo in the canyon, a reflection on the sound. When I'm really looking, I can hear you all around.
Thank you, Captain Mike, for that intro song, original composition. As I say, it just echoes in my mind all week. Something about it. I'm trying to figure out exactly. Now I think I've got it. I'm going to read a poem about nostalgia. That's it. And about childhood. And about family. He lived a circumscribed life of combustible crises. Ailing wife, sleepless nights, not for me, a crushed thumb in the factory presses, slightly sweet smell of boiling potatoes unpeeled, wafting down 3 flights of dusty wooden stairs, mixing the telltale tenement odors of damp resin, soot, closed pores, old factory memories, that's of peat bog fires and Irish lyres, ancient cottages by the sea. Music is wounded kinship's last resort, sweet, sour syntax of coming of age, natural joy of a little sweet boy buried before the fall, an orphan with an Orphic prophecy, alone in the dark universe after all. Longing to be comforted, cradled in a father's arms, guided by a grandfather's wise tears, and the setting sun's painted path. Bolt upright in my bed, I sat at 3 a.m. An earache? A deep care? Terrible worry? Balls in the air? What could get me up again? A dream. A dream, a sweet vision, hand in hand, grandfather and grandson, sharing their stories on heavenly stairs, with strains of Schubert's Shepherd on a Rock floating in midair. But it was only the paper boy and his radio in the car outside and his persistent cough that carries me off. Wow, 3 generations, son, father, grandfather. The note is from the American Indian tribe. It's the story of Poya, P-O-I-A, from the Blackfoot tribe of the North American plains. Grandfather and grandson redeem the past in the power of love to heal. My goodness. And that is what has been echoing in my mind. The canyon and the echo. And I found a poem about it too, and that's amazing. But it's that sound of nostalgia. So I want to reintroduce myself. I am Francis Edward Crowley. There it's up on the screen. Earned PhD, SUNY Buffalo, 1980. I am bicultural, bilingual, bicoastal, bisexual, bifurcated. Oh my goodness. How many more bis? I got them all. Oh, yeah. You got it. That's right. What's going on? Well, I'll tell you. A life-changing transformation started July 1st. Here we are, the 10th. I dove into this book, and it began to really echo in the canyon of my childhood. Mitch Albom. And Ryan knew the name. He knows the book. Oh my gosh. Got it off the shelf for $1. And I love Mitch Albom's book of, maybe 30 years ago, Tuesdays with Morrie. And the one saying in Morrie's whole story was, quote, "Forgive everything all the time," end quote. That was the one quote that stuck out, echoed in my mind and in the canyon of my life over and over. And then I picked up The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. Started slow, few pages in. Should I continue? Should I read this book? Oh my goodness, me my. It was the book that found me. It was the book that is waiting to find me just at the right moment of synchronicity, just at the moment of vulnerability for change and transformation. We all know what that's about, especially if you've lived 80, wow, and 2, wow, the lifespan. I'm telling you, it just grabbed hold of me and I couldn't stop reading for 2 days. That's why I'm starting with the youth and the youth voice, and also the Worm-Wise Elder. So that's the theme of today's group of poems and pictures. And it's also a huge celebration of the ability in life for human beings to grow, to change, to have a moral life. And I guess I missed my calling. Anyway, that's enough preaching. Let's celebrate Pride, Part 2. What we got? Well, we got the color purple. And we've got a few pictures, which I'd love to start with. I'm just so happy to share what's going on with me as it's happening through poetry, which is really a wonderful vehicle. So, as Anne-Marie fishes up some wonderful pictures, I see myself with a tummy. Oh my gosh. That's me, 55 pounds heavier. So, a couple of life-changing illnesses intervened. This was 2019. And don't you just love the hat? Oh, yeah. New York City, Fifth Avenue, all the way down to, the Village. Next slide. What's coming next? Oh, yeah. The signs changed, of course, because the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts merged. My best friend, who has passed away last August, David Knapp, is the celebrity who was kicked out of the Boy Scouts, and Connie Chung was at his door in Guilford interviewing him, and on and on. He also just left $875,000 to buy Deer Lake right up the street. That's pretty something. He's the sailor who I went out with on a sail each time with his family, his friends, and he was so generous a man. I want to raise a nod and a glass to him. David Knapp, Knapp, formerly of Guilford, well-known celebrity, personality, and the boy who was kicked out of the Boy Scouts. I was actually at the front of the parade that year carrying his sign because he was not able to walk, so he was riding in the car. Kicked out of the Boy Scouts. And next slide will show you, yeah, Mad Dog John, my Tucson buddy. My friend said, which one is the homeless guy? I didn't think I looked that bad. Mad John lived under the bridge, had the Fight Club, all the stuff that's stereotypical that you imagine. But he sat in front of Walgreens. Oh my goodness. How did he live? He drew his art on envelopes. Mad Dog John. I'll come back to him with the poem I wrote. Walgreens in Tucson on Speedway in Craycroft, not too far from the Poetry Center where Ruth Walgreen Stevens set up, oh my goodness, 3 or 4 cottages for poets to come and visit and be visiting poets at the University of Arizona in Tucson. All the connections. And that's the point of Mitch's book. Everyone's connected. Emotionally, morally, certainly. Mad Dog, we'll come back. Oh, there's me before I lost the 55 pounds. Let's move right on, Anne-Marie. Oh, yeah. Outside the Turtle Cafe. Hey, those are my poems. I wrote the Turtle Cafe poem. We're not plugging it. No way. We're not plugging it. We just are celebrating the lyrics that came out of the Turtle Cafe. It's a poem about my grandson. Right on target. What's he going to be like in 2045? He'll be sitting on the same stool I sat on. Yeah. Sipping his coffee, talking to the old gents, old salts too, those who come in on the boats. Yeah, I'm a cafe writer, mentioned it last time. And there we are, Dave Knapp in the center at age 93. And he loaned me the Boy Scout shirt because I never was a Boy Scout. I was a Boy Cub Scout. Did the potholders at age 6 at school. And one of Dave's good friends. So you're getting a flavor of what it's like to be on the train to go to New York City for the Pride. Yeah. And that's what they do. They prance around proudly showing their muscles, which they've worked at 24/7 for 7 years plus. That's a lot of work, folks. Let me tell you. And that's in the Village. So that's where a gay cultural center is for sure. Oh, I'm happy with these pictures. They're bringing me back. I haven't been, of course, because of COVID and the rest of it. Nice setup. Thank you. And yeah, you can let go, Anne-Marie. That's quite a picture, isn't it, though? Oh, yeah. We had a good run there, didn't we? Oh. Family. And we've got some poems. This is from the book that I wrote in Tucson at the Poetry Center. And I call it Bar Poems. And other whimsies. Bar Poems and Other Whimsies. Oh, I really, really enjoyed doing this. Self-published, just locally, the printer right down the street. And cost me about $1,000 in all. Made only 100 copies, but my family called it Frank's Folly, meaning we don't get any money out of this one. Okay. The other book is Stories from the Other Side, which has a poem in it that I'll be reading called Image Energy. And this book is in the library, Madison, Guilford, Westbrook Library. It's in library Interloan, where you can always get it. It's an anthology of stories from writers from all over the world. Stories from the Other Side, thematic memoirs. And it was a textbook at Gateway Community College when I taught there for 20 years. So, how about a few poems? And as I say, we'll come back to the one in the book, Image Energy. Poems. Oh, thank you. This is a good one to start with. A digital love affair. Some say that opposites strongly attract. Different types in love must certainly be cracked. You are so anal, and I so oral, we'd soon find a way to start a quarrel. Confusion would confound our give and take. We'd create crises like layers in a tall wedding cake. You are cerebral. I'm more like Caliban. You Ariel on the run while I get a tan. We're so far apart in station and class. I'm from the peasants. Wheat, cabbage, and grass. You're from the Brahmins, born under glass. Now that we've met in the flesh at last, please take your forefinger out of my... Oops. I hear few laughs in the background. I'm happy. If I can make anyone laugh with a poem, I'm thrilled. Next one. Ain't no groundhog here. Oh, Anne-Marie, you found a groundhog. Ain't that purty? I saw my silly shadow grow gigantic as he tumbled off childhood's old secret shelf. Bored dead, he said. The blood moon and blue shone coldly behind the large head. I replied, it's a clue, you sad Sijuaro. 3 arms were pointed down in reverse. Shadow on desert, winter ground. Don't hide early sorrows. Oh, soon enough you will be a desiccated scarecrow. Come down now. Crack open rigid fiber ribs, early crystal identities. Don't trust tomorrow to save your shadow soul. Trust me, I ain't no confused groundhog, briefly bemused by the copper color eclipsed moon, pretending to be a shadow sun, and your halo turns blue. Ain't no groundhog here. We all have a shadow side. Jung, the psychologist, and he elaborated, grew up and over Freud's work, and the collective unconscious leaves us wondering, well, what is our shadow side, and we all confront that in life, don't we? Thank you. Another one. And I love that groundhog's picture. Maybe there's Mrs. Groundhog on the couch over there. Possibly. What do you think? Could pass as a groundhog? Yeah. How did we know that? Synchronicity. The universe provides. Just let it happen. As the show. Oh, yeah. It's a match. That's Lady Groundhog. Absolutely. Desperado. Thinking imaginatively about the loneliness in life, we all face that. I imagined, after seeing them all at the University of Arizona and all the young people playing together and having a blast, what is it about loneliness? Desperado. Long, curly, dark hair. Then thin hips and lips. Guitar strumming on 4th Avenue sidewalk. Case open for small change. Thanks with a sweet smile and an ironic style. Been covered with 1,000 kisses in urinals, bars, and rock cafes when not out mending fences. A memory. Sunny soccer fields, youthful tight white shorts, shadows shifting, lithesome young men stretching, lifting, leaps suspended like hovering hummingbirds for the frisbee shot. Now, desire like walking rain in the desert floats forever on your heart's horizon, and two-stepping, strutting, never slutting, busting your beautiful ass, shoveling horse shit, always hitting the road, never holding a man in your arms more than 2 days running. Now you hang out with rocks at all the gem shows. You'd better come to your senses and get out of your head. You'd better let somebody love you and get out of your bed. Again, imaginative recreation. You think you'll always have your soccer ball butt, your youth, your strut, you'll part your hair on the other side. You think you'll glide into old age? You'll shed your worn, cracked black boots, and desire, like a desert dream, will cause you to shudder in your shoes. Couple of notes. By the way, I was trying consciously to work on musicality of the poem. I mentioned a hummingbird in there, and in that stanza, there are all these sibilants, consciously written that way with the craft of music coming in. Yeah, that's exactly the point. Does it sound like that? Well, we imitate that as poets. We actually wish we had more of a musical instrument. I do, inherent in my abilities and my physicality. But we approximate through language, don't we? What's the role of dreams? Yeah, big role. And I'm really feeling the music of the poem, and I'm wondering, with some aggressive strumming, maybe we could do that one. Okay, yeah. Break time. Don't go away. We'll be right back. And the service announcements are wonderful.
Students use drugs to cope with their problems that they're having in their personal life. They may feel some pressure from school or other outside sources, so they use it to cope and to try to solve their problems, even though they don't really solve the problems.
Teenagers in particular start using drugs for all sorts of reasons, even though they know that it may cause some negative effects. Some of those reasons could be self-medicating to cope with various stressors going on in their life. A lot of teenagers start using drugs due to peer pressure, thrill-seeking, and a desire to fit in. And a lot of teenagers actually start using it just out of curiosity.
Substance abuse can be treated. It can be treated by many ways at the high school. You can reach out to a trusted psychologist or like a guidance counselor. You can reach out to your favorite teacher or any faculty member, and of course you can talk to your nurse or anyone at the health office.
Drug abuse is a bad pathway that can impact your life forever, but there is always time for change.
If you're ever looking for help, you can go on your mobile device and reach out to the number 1-800-662-4357.
It's
never
never
too
too
late
late to
to
change.
One of the most common cons this time of year is the utility scam. A bad actor may call or text you claiming to be with the utility company and threaten to turn off your electricity, saying you haven't paid your bill. They may also try to steal your money and sensitive personal information through a fake home energy assessment. This ruse often includes a phony credit check, which requires you to hand over your banking information and even your social security number. They may claim they can save you money on your energy bills if you buy their discounted equipment, but all you'll get is a big credit card bill. Always check with your utility company before letting someone into your home. Even if they're wearing credentials, they may be fake. Also, utility companies won't call or text you out of the blue threatening to turn off the lights. And while they do energy assessments, you have to set them up ahead of time. They don't just send people knocking on doors. For more information on how to protect yourself, visit Better Business Bureau at bbb.org. And to report a scam, visit bbb.org/scam-tracker.
Imagine energy. Teach me, magician, magus, soul, the art of inner focus, mindfulness, the slow submerged enlightenment. My surface energy spent in show. Let fly the sparks, plunge, pound, pour, a fiery consciousness, a primal glow. I need an Iron John, faithful Jew, Jesus, Gilgamesh, and Enkidu. Siddhartha under the discerning tree, king, sage, warrior, magician, lover. Someone to break my mold, blow my cover, to unleash from below a flash of energy. My subterranean size summoned for me, the greatest great-great-grandpa of all. From before the first archetypal fall, my visceral Vulcan, my mighty mentor, to help me face the pillar of fire and desire. Hammer me whole, you mystic mole. Forge me a template of sacred space for ritual reenactment, initiation. Grant me the magician's second sight, a look into the roots and reason of things. Give me the old imagery of myths and masks, old persona of arts and inner power, the medicine man, the spiritual shaman, the ritual elders, the roar deep sounds from hardwired archetypes underground. No more wrestling with ghosts, golden demons, unquiet hosts of hell. No more fusty, funky Faust of faux Mephistopheles. No shadow side, no alchemy, no greedy appetite unbound. No negative shadow pole, nor the trickster's rabbit down the hole. Discernment is not a mind play of deconstruction, not dumb luck. It is so much more than metaphor. Stage mechanics, emotional maelstroms, crashing colossal waves ashore, drifting dead fishermen's bodies along the coast of Maine.
I am the warm, wise elder, a guide who engages youth, promotes growth without inflation or grandiosity. I require a rediscovering under the sway of the mystical. I borrow from the lover the inner vision of creative connection. Love is the core within the sensual self. I trip the energy transformers. I flip the switch to regulate the fast flow of energy forces. Come to me, and first we'll grieve, and wash your wound in healing waters. We'll touch the gold of brave and bold. We'll call the inner king to bless our fearless, loving, and trusting. We'll catch the eagle on his wing, trust the source of soul delight, soar to the sun, but not too close. Mindfulness is the key, my son, for all you do and think, for what we know of spiritual growth for sure, is hope, humility, and all the seasons of self-honesty. What we know of transformations is the sea, the changing tides of image energy. Bravo, Mike. That's the youth's voice. You
Deep thoughts.
captured it. And the rhythm and the pace of it was wonderful. Articulation is amazing. What a quick study you are.
Nothing like a last-minute ask.
Michael J. Fox, really a musician, non-parallel, best there was in the other shows. Oh, with his partner Mike behind the camera. Michael J. Fox, I'm so grateful.
Thanks, Frank, for asking me.
Yeah, and again and again and again.
Till next time.
Till next time. You're a great
Thank you.
listener.
I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah,
Thanks.
Good job. Oh, fantastic job. Hey, you're great. You didn't turn your back to the camera. I did in the last show. I turned around, changed my coat. Oh, no. I turned my back to the camera. That's a no-no. Oh, gee, I did that last time. So, in my younger self, again, this is out of print, of course, because Gateway doesn't use it anymore. It was great. Actually, 6 editions of this book. And, I was so pleased to be able to find writers from all over the world, actually, because Stories from the Other Side is a metaphor. It's not only the other side of the membrane, the other side, which would be heaven, right? It's the other side of the world. I've got China in here, and, well, enough of a plug. It's in the libraries. Enjoy. Oh, maybe we got some more poems, I'm hoping. Yeah. A little jazzy with yeah. Oh, with the tunes and strains of Leonard Cohen in the background. Here we go. This is an interesting one. A friend in Tucson drove me home one evening from the gay bar downtown, and I wrote a poem. Thank you for driving me home, your loins pulsing in long white trousers, a squeeze of your long, slender fingers in the headlights. I waved my smile, no guile, you waved my proffered look. Thank you for really good verse, an open book, terse like you, laconic too, and sweet in hope and promise. sometimes longer lines like your endless inseam awaiting my tongue to give voice to love, traveling all you back roads to Tucson's fantasy. Yep, my beard is growing back. Less black, more gray in memory, loving you in the true colors flash. Is he Melville? Whitman? Crane? Merrill? You see, or me in lineage of bardic beards, I can only be me. I once said to a blonde lover, like you, intoxicated with glee, seeing the real me. Yes, the friendships and the friends we pick up. These days, I prefer lusty love, your long lines of poetry, your inseam, my tongue slowly climbing the arch of your toes, size 13 feet, curve of slender legs, up, the back roads as Whitman, I celebrate your body. Electric, erotic, your lines asymptotic. As Melville, I take stolen moments, wanting more than a glimpse of Hawthorne's tender, distant, unsmiling regard. A touch, perhaps, of your gorgeous face, dark hair burning, cold black eyes as Hart Crane in my lofty interior, self-absorbed romantic gaze. I want to penetrate your charm, no harm to the necessary fantasy preserved as a glistening memory of us in amber twilight glow, as Merrill on an overdue pilgrimage to Nova Scotia to honor Elizabeth Bishop. Storm, light, showers of brilliance, pump organ, hymnal circle 1915. I endure your button-up bliss. And yet I desire so much more this visit. My arms around your 34-inch waist, a lit match at dawn, hearts beating each to each as I reach the far shore. You are most fine and free. I release you forever from my fantasy. Some future visit, my loins may drive home my lasting sweet regard for you next time. I promise to show a full gray bardic beard like Robert Browning when I next return from Florence or the land of the Puritan snow. Please don't always remain only in memory and fantasy, even though you shall always be way, way, way beyond my reach. Yeah. And then we go willy-nilly to the next poem. And we're going to make a transition into the next few shows, which will be politics and poetry, because it's time to stand up and to be counted. It's time to do, as Emperor Hadrian said, our part of civic responsibility in the service of art and civility. And I wrote this for us, Stars and Stripes. Yeah, celebrating the 4th. Sorry, I didn't write this. I wrote a response to this. And this is from Lawrence Ferlinghetti's poem. He was the guy who opened the City Lights bookstore in San Francisco in the North Side. Wonderful poet. He kicked off the beat movement and all the beat poets in 55. He was the forerunner. He was the guru. Pity the nation whose people are sheep and whose shepherds mislead them. Pity the nation whose leaders are liars, whose sages are silenced, and whose bigots haunt their airwaves. Pity the nation that raises not its voice, except apt to praise conquerors and acclaim the bully as hero, and aims to rule the world with force and by torture. Pretty the nation that knows no other language but its own, and no other culture but its own. Pity the nation whose breath is money, and sleeps the sleep of the too well-fed. Pity the nation, oh, pity the people who allow their rights to erode and their freedoms to be washed away. My country, tears of thee, sweet land of liberty. Very prescient, very 1950s, very powerful to kick off the beat movement. Allen Ginsberg then followed with his poem, Howl, 1955. They were all there. And Lawrence Ferlinghetti was the prime mover and supporter. And here we are, 50 years later. I have included one by Oscar Wilde, which came over the internet the other day just as a poet's selection, which comes poems a day. You can do it by just signing up. Oscar Wilde, out of the mist wood's twilight, into the meadow's dawn, ivory-limbed and brown-eyed flashes my fawn. He skips through the copses singing, and his shadow dances along, and I know not which I should follow, shadow or song. O hunter, snare me his shadow. O nightingale, catch me his train. Else moonstruck with music and madness, I track him in vain. Very formal, very conscious of the music in the poem. In that place, he lived a short life, died because of a prison mistreatment, and also his ill-fated affair with the Marquis of Rosebery, and the trials, et cetera, et cetera. He wrote a very moving poem, The Ballad of Reading Jail, when he was in jail. So he's one of our heroes and cultural shapeshifters and changers. This is for my daughter, for Christy. My daughter is 51. Sorry. What am I saying? Where did those 2 years go? She's 53. She lives in Brantford. And this goes back to being on the road in 2019, 2020. 2019, we took a trip to Bisbee, the Mexican border, delivering actually supplies. Love in the time of contagion, and that would be COVID. Thoughts are like feathers, feelings like fleeting clouds blasted by hot winds of fear. The fog bank disappears in shrouds, desperate lost crowds flash mindlessly, then dash heads apart. Death has undone all the rest, crossing the river of lost hearts. Love, too, has departed with Sharon for Dante's near shores, another inferno of pestilence, fast filled, all the gun stores. Once a friend, the old plague has replaced comrades with foes, declaring that life is absurd. Death prepares us to go. Says love from the other side. Don't be absurd. Death be not proud. 'Tis Mother Nature culling the herd. This is homage to Dante in Dante's Inferno, and the imagery is borrowed from the hot winds blowing back and forth from the circle, the sixth circle of hell in the Inferno. And I tried to imitate the formal aspects of a poem that really harkens back to the antique world and to our forebears as bards. I've mentioned a lot of poems in my poem and a lot of poets in my poems who are forerunners, trailblazers, cultural iconoclasts who break the mold, who crack the glass. And that was an inspiration in South Dakota. By the way, did you hear on the news last night? That plague? You gotta be kidding me. The bubonic plague of the Middle Ages? There was one case reported in the United States? Now? Come on. Wow. If that doesn't wake you up, nothing will. And the next, here's my, in a sense, my signature gay poem, my coming of age poem as a gay man, and celebrating the early years of icons. Yeah. I'm going to mention Rock Hudson in here, a couple of others. Tab Hunter and me, screaming bus rides, clean clothes with Tide. Little Linda down the street, my busy mom, but she fed me Chinese feasts, took me to the movies, stoned me with her kisses. We share a lot, Tab, the same story. Crazy, controlling moms, fathers fleeing footfalls, parallel tracks, parents cracked from overworked childhoods, one sibling too. How I loved you, fell for your big screen muscles, swelled in my seat watching Ireland of Desire. 12 at the time, I broke a taboo with you. My body screamed that night for your tight, tanned skin, your milky smile, brown, blonde curls, and your rich blue veins of cowboy blood spilled for love. I craved you under childhood's patchwork quilt of guilt and glory, wanted to be you, to crawl into the cracked mirror of Hollywood dreams. Admired your savvy horse sense in spaghetti westerns, in war scenes, even with Divine, that screaming queen. Anthony Perkins, Rock Hudson, buttoned-up boys like me led half-lives in a 50s straitjacket and tie. You never came out, Rock. What a crock. Happy, unhappy, hidden hunks, hoping to pass. We fooled only ourselves. You're now 78, Tab. It's not the same face on the back of your book, but I'm still hooked on Island of Desire. Just not on Linda Darnell, who never did it for you either. You're still my fantasy in sticky sheets. No split image for you and me. You gave me intuitive gifts for a whole life. He wrote his autobiography in his early 70s. He came to Tucson. He came to the Loft Theater where my college roommate owned and celebrated old Hollywood, busloads and plane loads from Hollywood and West Hollywood, to celebrate the old films. And I didn't get to see him because he came after I had left that month. But a friend of mine bought his book and sent it to me. Speaking of old films. I have a little confession to make. I bought blue hair color, and I was going to do that today. Only because it was $1. Nope, it was 50 cents at dollar store. I can't resist a bargain. So there I was, grabbing down like some kid at the carnival, next door. We're celebrating the fire department's carnival for July. And all of a sudden, a memory of 48 came back to me. And it's an old movie. Pat O'Brien. Anybody remember his name? The boy with the green hair. I was, 7? I walked out of that movie, which was so cinematically fantastic because the whole movie was in black and white until the boy appeared, and only his hair was green. A la cinematic art and innovation from The Wizard of Oz. You remember that? Black and white until, what a craft that is. But I walked out and I was in a daze. I identified with that kid who had the green hair. And Pat O'Brien, a father figure, more like a grandfather figure. So meaningful. And there I was, standing outside the theater, just, in a sense, stoned. Not stoned that way, but stoned from childhood. Stoned with my mother's kisses. Stoned with messages. Rocks thrown at me as a kid. That kind of stoned. And then I said, oh, that feels so good. I'm not alone. There's somebody with green hair, which makes him stand out, which causes him to be an outsider, which causes him to be an outcast. They weren't sure what the green hair meant. Of course, it's a traditional symbol of hope. And I was going to settle for 50 cents for blue. But I thought better of it. Yeah, I did, because I'm going to the dentist at 4. Wow. I had even more fun than the last show. Part 1, Gay Pride. This is Part 2, Gay Pride, but boy, have we made a transition. So hang on to your bootstraps for the next 3 shows. And better yet, please go read Mitch Albom and the 5 people you meet in heaven. This is such a transformative book. I'll say it again. It is just taken my socks off so dramatically. And we will be talking about issues for salvation of the country starting next show. Poetry and politics. I think we'll start with that Ferlinghetti poem. Wake up, folks. Wake up before it's too late. So, a lot of metaphors, a lot of archetypes here. The shaman, the magic man, the wise elder, the impetuous youth. A lot of archetypes. Human family, and we're all connected. A much deeper show today in terms of the transition. So thanks for staying with me. And thanks for the help. A wonderful dream team today. Emily's back. Oh, yeah. And Ryan, oh, yeah. And Captain Mike, I got a few laughs. Thanks. And Michael J. Fox, star cameo. Wonderful, wonderful reading of Image Energy. And again, make the library your friend. I look forward to a little break, which is next Wednesday when we're Zooming with a couple of poets and friends from Minneapolis. Thank goodness for Zoom. Yeah. So it is a wrap. I'm very grateful for the set, for the design, for the beauty that we've shared today, and for the word which transforms. See you next time.
If I'm gone tomorrow and you hear this song today, just remember that